Hello, today we're going to look at giving and receiving effective feedback in the workplace. Very, very important skill, especially as a manager. So we're going to look at why feedback matters, what good feedback looks like, and how to build feedback skills. Most managers tend to believe that they're good at feedback, yet many times employees regularly report back that feedback is unclear, overly critical, too vague, or just simply no good. For example, as a manager, you might say to an employee, you need to be more proactive and get more involved. But really, there's no detail in that feedback. It's too vague. There's nothing to actually act on. So we don't want to give general statements. We want to give genuine and good feedback. So in this video, we're going to explore what effective feedback really involves and give you a practical model, especially if you're a manager. This will be really useful, and how to use feedback correctly. Let's start with why feedback so often goes wrong. Why feedback often fails? Well, I've got this diagram on screen, 4 main quadrants. First, feedback can be too vague, so it should be more strategic, and if it gives no clear behavior to change, then it's too vague. Secondly, it might be too emotional. Managers often wait until they're frustrated and then they give the feedback. So you're giving feedback with irritation, with an irritated tone. That's not the time to be giving feedback. So when you're in the right emotional state, that's the right time to give the feedback. And third, you don't want to give feedback when it's too late. Addressing issues 3 months after something has happened, for example, it greatly reduces the effectiveness and the credibility of the feedback that you are giving. And fourth, if it's one way. So as a manager, you don't want to do all the talking. You want to also listen to the employee and get feedback. Effective feedback needs to be specific, behavior focused, timely, and delivered as dialogue. Specific in this case means describing an observable action. For example, in yesterday's client meeting, you interrupted twice while Sarah was presenting. So that's a specific, observable example. Behavior focused, this means addressing what someone did, not who they are. So avoid saying something like, you're careless. Instead, you might say, there were 3 errors on this sheet. Let's talk about it. Don't just say you're careless. Timely means close to the event, so when improvement is still possible. And then you're going to invite a response. So this is where we said it's a two-way thing, feedback. So to make feedback easier, a lot of companies teach a simple feedback model. Here's one practical structure that as a manager you might want to use. This simple feedback model, SBI, stands for Situation, Behavior, and Impact. SBI. So situation describes when and where. For example, in yesterday's meeting, etc. Behavior would be when you describe the observable action. So as we said before, you interrupted Sarah twice, you might say to the employee, or you spoke over 2 colleagues while they were trying to give a contribution. The impact, that's going to be when you explain the effect, the impact it had. So, for example, that meant their ideas were not fully discussed and they missed out on giving feedback, and it could have been valuable feedback. So we're saying that because the person we're talking to might have interrupted their colleagues. And then we're going to invite a response. So this is what we said, feedback is two-way. So to give a positive example, you might say, in the client presentation this morning, so that's a situation, you simplified and made clear the details, so that was the behavior, which helped the client to really easily and quickly understand the decision we made, so that was the impact. What you don't want to do is add judgmental language, such as usual, or you always. So the strength of this model is clarity and neutrality. However, even with a model like this, people still make some common mistakes when giving feedback. So let's take a look at some common mistakes. Managers often save feedback for formal reviews. So this could be appraisals at the end of the year, for example. So then the feedback very often feels historical or overwhelming because it's like such a long time ago and it feels unfair, the feedback that you are now receiving. So again, remember we said about timing. Timing and feedback go together. It's very important. Another mistake is what can be called kitchen sinking. So raising 5 separate issues at once, or raising 4 issues at once, it creates or puts the other person in a defensive mindset because you're tackling them with so many issues at the same time. It makes it feel more personal and it can be quite damaging. So do not kitchen sink, meaning do not throw lots of issues at the same time. So overloading with issues. And many managers forget to include the positive feedback. So say something positive and negative perhaps. So in fact, this goes towards the concept of the feedback sandwich, giving positive feedback and negative feedback and positive feedback. Imagine telling someone your communication style is a problem. That's a bit vague. It's quite personal. It doesn't give any positive guidance. So instead, you could say, for example, in yesterday's email, the key deadline wasn't clear, it wasn't mentioned, it wasn't specific. So you're given the precise detail. And what you don't want to do if you do use the feedback sandwich, giving positive and negative feedback, is to exaggerate the positive feedback, because then it's going to not seem sincere. So far we've focused on giving feedback, but receiving feedback is also very important, whether you're an employee, whether you're a manager. Let's look at how employees can receive feedback constructively. Even when you are receiving feedback, it's a professional skill, something you can learn. So first you want to fully listen. So this is actively listening, not thinking about what you're going to eat tonight when you go home. It's concentrating and actively listening and without interrupting. Even if you disagree, let the other person finish. Secondly, then you can clarify the specific things. So can you give me an example? You could ask. Then third, manage your defensiveness. It's natural to feel uncomfortable and to react, but do not be defensive. Be open about this. And then fourth, agree the next steps. So next time I will do A, B, C, D. I will do this, this, or this. So for example, if a manager says your updates are sometimes unclear, an effective response might be, could you give me a recent example so I understand what I can improve and where I went wrong? So ask for a specific example. What you don't want to do is respond with, oh, that's not fair. Or you always blame me, so you don't want to say things like that. Ask for examples and clarify, and then you agree an approach, and feedback becomes a positive, constructive way forward. It can actually help to build trust between colleagues, between manager and employee. But knowing this intellectually doesn't mean it's always easy to do confidently. So let's look at the next slide as well. Feedback is emotionally charged because your personality, your identity, you can feel it is challenged. Your competence, your ability, your status, your job status, these things can feel challenged sometimes. You feel that you're under attack if you're the person being given the feedback. It's also habit driven. A lot of managers default to the way that they were managed, and that's the way they end up trying to manage other people. So they've not been trained in giving and receiving feedback. And with SBI, it's not always the same. When you're actually in the situation, it can actually be hard. There's emotions, so it can be hard giving feedback or receiving feedback. One of the best ways of learning and practicing is to have workshops and sessions on giving and receiving feedback, role plays, and getting used to the way of speaking, the pressures that come with giving good feedback, how to do it correctly. So we do, by the way, have training materials on giving and receiving feedback. I will leave a link below this video to that. That's the training materials if you're a trainer or HR. So What should effective feedback training include? Let's take a look at the next slide. Good training on feedback should cover some clear models, give realistic scenarios that you can practice, a chance to practice the language, so a couple of role plays, and it's going to be generally facilitator guided. For managers, this can be really, really valuable. Let's take a look at the next slide. Effective feedback is about being specific, as we've mentioned. So what was the actual situation? It's going to be behavior focused. What was the behavior? What happened? And it's going to be timely and dialogued. So timely, soon after it's happened. Dialogued, you're going to allow feedback. It's a two-way thing. The model we provided could be very, very useful. It reduces misunderstandings and ambiguity. Avoid personal attacks and overloading the other person with information. Tackle one problem at a time, one key problem if you can. Most importantly, practice consistently. Feedback is about learning. It's a skill. Feedback is a skill. It's a soft skill that can be learned. It can be trained. If you're a HR professional or a trainer, structured materials can really help for delivering this topic and to deliver it with confidence and consistently, with consistency to managers. That's how feedback becomes a cultural norm in your company. And that's how companies move from awkward conversations to real performance improvements. I hope you found this lesson useful. I will see you very, very soon. We're going to talk about confidence in the workplace, building the confidence of your employees and your managers. That could also be very useful. I will see you soon.